Okay, so tell me a little bit about FCIC, how did it come about?
Okay, so the Florida Center for Inclusive Communities, or FCIC, is a UCED, which stands for University Center of Excellence in Developmental Disabilities. It's funded by the Administration for Community Living, and there are 67 UCEDs across the United States and its territories, with at least one in every state. The UCED network has a shared vision that foresees a nation in which all Americans, including Americans with disabilities, enjoy independence and self-determination, productivity, and community inclusion. FCIC was established in 2005 and is affiliated with and housed on the campus of the University of South Florida in Tampa, but we work with partners and stakeholders all over the state and beyond.
Mm-hmm, cool. So like what kinds of services do you provide at FCIC?
Good question. So as with all you said, we're not strictly a service provider. So we do provide some individual and families and community services, but we also do teaching, training, and technical assistance and research and information dissemination. So our focus is on developing a range of supports and services in the area of community supports, early childhood, education, employment, health, and interdisciplinary training. We currently have over 30 separate grant and contract funded projects that cover a wide range of topics. But if you'd like, I'll just tell you about a few.
Yeah, sure.
So the National Center for Pyramid Model Innovations helps to train state and local programs to support social, emotional, and behavioral outcomes for young children at risk for developmental disabilities. The Florida PBS program works with school districts to implement positive behavioral supports and interventions. And we also staff and coordinate a graduate certificate program in positive behavior supports. We have the Interdisciplinary Center for Evaluation and Intervention, which we call the IC Clinic, that provides comprehensive evaluations and interventions for kids pre-K to 12th grade with behavioral, developmental, or social emotional challenges. Our HIPPY program helps parents create experiences for their children that lay the foundation for success in school and later life. The Center for Autism and Related Disabilities provides family support, training, technical assistance, and referral information for individuals with autism and their families. We have an autism friendly business initiative, which works with businesses, entertainment, and transportation venues, and other members of the community to help create more welcoming and sensory friendly experiences for people of all abilities. We also work extensively around issues of safety and emergency preparedness, training service providers, including law enforcement and first responders, about successfully interacting with individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We have a program called Launch, which provides a customized transition program that assists in preparing young adults with autism spectrum for employment. And we also do employment services. We have developed a number of health related resources, including the My Health Report and Passport, COVID-19 and vaccination information, and information on the waiting list for home and community based services. And and all of these things can be found on our website, but we also host the Inclusion Florida website, which is a hub full of information on all the topics I just talked about. And the goal of Inclusion Florida is help ensure the reality of full access and choice of people with all disabilities. So I'm just going to say the website address real quick, which is inclusionfl.cbcs.usf.edu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, those are some good resources to know. Make sure you can send me the list of resources after we're done here. Anyway, if I could move on, like I know you talked a little bit about stakeholders, so if you could like dive deeper into that a little bit, like what stakeholders UCF partners with, that would be great.
Sure. FCIC, we partner with a lot of people. Most of the work that we do is a collaboration. First of all, we consider individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families and caregivers as our most vital partners. We work alongside individuals with them as staff. They also provide guidance and oversight of our activities on several project advisory councils. And they work with us from the development of new programs to the reporting of our findings. And in addition, each one of our programs involves some sort of external collaboration. So just some of our partners include the Florida State Department of Education, the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation, Disability Rights Florida, the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council, the University of South Florida, where we're housed, and other universities, school districts, schools, teachers, health and mental health care providers, first responders, local businesses, and nonprofit agencies.
Yeah. My next question is, what impact does your organization have on communities as a whole, particularly the disability community?
Sure. Well, all of our programs are targeted to help either people with disabilities or at risk for developing disabilities. And I've talked a little bit about in detail about our specific programs, but I would say as a whole, FCIC is really engaged in and committed to building the capacity in our educators, providers, communities, and systems. So what I mean by that is we do research to identify best practices, and we do modeling and teaching and coaching and advising. We disseminate information. And by doing that, the members of FCIC increase the knowledge and skills base of our communities, of people in our communities. And what that does is it creates this ripple effect. Where more individuals and families are ultimately supported and included by those we teach and train than we would have been able to do ourselves just through direct service.
Yeah, my last question is, how do you create an inclusive and welcoming environment for everyone, for people with disabilities from an FCIC point of view?
Sure, that's a great question. First, as said before, we engage individuals and family members with lived experiences to learn areas of progress that have been made and ongoing needs that inform all of our activities and action and help us evaluate our progress. We really value our partnerships and relationships in our communities. And we come from a place of humility where we're always seeking to learn more and do better. We actually believe that everyone can and should be included in schools, workplaces, and communities. We believe that people with disabilities should be able to live, work, and play in the same environments as people without disabilities. So we try to do this through valuing individual differences because we see that as something that adds richness to our world. We also strive to understand and support individual needs. And when we can, we try to make changes in systems to make our world more welcoming and inclusive for everyone, regardless of ability.
Yeah, that's cool.